Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. The third day of the transfer window. What a day it was yesterday. Busy day talking about Havertz, talking about Rice, talking about Caicedo. Today, another day, more news as always. It's never boring transfer window with Arsenal. We'll be talking about the latest on Moussa Diaby, links to him, talking about Lavia. We actually want Lavia to Arsenal. Also the latest on Declan Rice, Havertz, Saliba's contract, and also BALOGUN. As always, any questions you have, drop it down in the comment section. And yeah, let's get started. How are you guys feeling since yesterday? People are very mad yesterday, but hopefully people have kind of settled down a bit. And the first piece of news we'll start with is our own player. Let's start with our own player, the player that we wanted to stay. There's good news on Saliba. It's a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. Documents approved, details fixed. William Saliba will sign a new long-term contract. Our new long-term deal at Arsenal is expected after final talks revealed last weekend. Here we go. Understand Saliba will put pen to paper when he returns from holidays. New deal June 2027 with option to 2028. So we've given him a new contract until 2027, and he also has the option to extend for a further year. So I think that kind of relaxes us in terms of centre backs. Gabriella signed a new contract. Saliba signed a new contract. Ben White will be here. We also have Kivia as a backup. I think we're kind of okay for centre backs at the moment. If we can add a centre back later on in the transfer window, fine. But I think we can relax in terms of centre backs. He also kind of had an injury, and I don't think he'll be back for preseason. So it's going to be interesting to see, will he be playing in the preseason, or will he miss a couple of games in the preseason? What will happen with him? I'm not sure, but luckily he signed a new contract. In terms of contracts and giving our players new contracts, we've kind of learned a lesson, because I remember back in the day, all these players leaving, Sanchez, Ozil, we didn't get a penny for any of them. All of them left on a free. Yes, we got Mkhitaryan for Sanchez, but most of our top players usually leave for free. Cazorla, Rosicki, like we didn't get any money for all these players. Ramsey especially as well. I think we could have gotten like 40 or 50 million for Ramsey at that time. Now we're learning our lesson. All our top players are signing contracts. Gabriel, Saliba, Odegaard will probably get it done soon as well. Obviously, Saka signed a new contract. Smith Rowe didn't sign a new contract that long time ago. Martinelli, Ramsdale. We are keeping all our best players, which is good. Yes, we want to add players to the team, but you also have to keep your better players. We don't want you to bring Rafinha and then you sell Saka. No, we don't want that. We want you to add to the talents that you already have. We know we already have talented players like Martinelli and Saka, and all those guys. Likely they're going to all stay. And the contract is running until 2027. So everyone who was worried about Saliba leaving, he is staying. The contract is done. He will be here until 2027. There was a part of me that was kind of worried because there was a time he wasn't really getting along with Arteta, and he's not really an Arteta signing. He was here during the Emery time. He was signed during the Emery period, I think 2019. So he was not really an Arteta signing. So there was always a part of me like, maybe he will leave, maybe he has other ideas, but I don't think you can get too many defenders like this. He was included in the team of the season for many people. His ball playing ability, his defending, his relationship with Gabriel and Ben White on the right side, perfect. So Saliba, new contract, done. I'm so happy with that one, and Saka and Martin very, very happy with that one. So that is the first one you had to start with because he is our own player. The next player we're going to talk about again is also our own player, but he's being linked to the move away. BALOGUN. BALOGUN is being linked to Inter Milan. So according to reports, Inter Milan are interested in following BALOGUN and are expected to formalize their approach. Reports from Sky Sports. So you know what the price they're talking about? They're talking about like 30 or 40 million. No. The way these teams are doing to us, I don't care. I want 100 million plus add-ons for BALOGUN. I don't care. I want 100 million, not just 100 million plus add-ons on top of that. And I want it paid within 1.5 years because that is what everyone is doing to us. If you want Caicedo, I'm hearing Brighton want like 120 million for Caicedo. That is crazy because he's had like 18 good months, 120 million, more expensive than Bellingham. That is crazy. West Ham want like 100 and something million for Rice. The kind of price the likes of Anthony and Maguire have moved to United to. I don't care. If you want BALOGUN as well, is one of the top scorers in France. He's only beaten by I think Mbappe and Lacazette. We want 120 million as well for BALOGUN. But on the real, how much do you think we should be getting paid for BALOGUN? And would you sell him anywhere or would you want to keep him 100%? The problem with BALOGUN is he wants first team football. That is the problem. You're not going to get first team football at Arsenal. I really, really doubt. The only way would have come back, or some of you are saying get rid of Nketiah, bring BALOGUN back. I think BALOGUN actually wants to start games, and you're not going to start games, especially now that Havertz could be joining, and we still have Trossard if Jesus is not there, especially if we sign another forward player as well. Trossard can play there. Havertz can probably play there as well. BALOGUN will not really get that game time that he wants. So my thought was I wanted him to go out on loan again to a Premier League club, like go to not West Ham. West Ham, I'm starting to hate them because of how they're talking like they're now a big club after winning the conference. Anyway, go to like a Brighton or something, or a team like, mid-table team, 7th to 12th. And Aston Villa would have been perfect for someone like a BALOGUN, but the problem is that they have Watkins. But a team like that, the likes of Crystal Palace, like go to a team that is not going to get relegated, and you're going to get a few chances here and there, and maybe be the main striker. That is what I wanted for BALOGUN. But unfortunately, it's not looking that is the case. It's looking like he's going to be sold. And Inter Milan is the team that wants him, but they're talking about 40 million. Do you think 40 million is enough for BALOGUN? He's very young and he just banged in goals last season for Reims in France. So these teams are trying to give us 40 million for Diaby. They want to give us like 15 million for Xhaka. No, we're not having this. We're not going to sell our players on cheap, because even teams like Chelsea want like 90 million for Mount. We want 100 million for BALOGUN as well. Like if you don't want the player, we are happy to keep him. I'm happy to keep BALOGUN, so it's not like we have to sell him. If you don't want to pay that money, we can keep him. We can send him out on another loan spell and see how he does. If he does well, bring him back. Or if we don't send him out on loan, we can keep him on the bench. He can help us, especially in the cup competitions and even in the league, coming on from the bench if he wants to do that. But Inter Milan want BALOGUN. Let me know how much you would pay for him for BALOGUN. Let me take a few comments before we go to the next story. So those are the ones I wanted to cover first, the players who belong to Arsenal. Cavani says, yes, BALOGUN is also a great player. One says, confirm I do sell BALOGUN for 10 million. Xhaka for 30 million. I hope not, man, because we've done that too. Even Leno. We asked for like 11 million from Fulham for Leno, and they were like, no, we're only going to give you like 5 or 6. Like, no, if it was like, let me tell you, if BALOGUN was playing for Reims, we are the ones who are buying BALOGUN from there, they would have asked for something silly like 90 million. If we were the ones going to Fulham asking for Leno, they would have asked for like 35 million. Like, why should they, even if it was Xhaka, after that's such a good season, they would have asked for a lot of money as well, 30, 40 million. Why are we selling these players on a cheap? I wouldn't do it. BALOGUN didn't sign a new contract a long time ago. It's like 2 years ago or something. I remember BALOGUN signing a contract. I could be wrong, but I remember him signing a contract like 2 years or 2.5 years ago. So there's no need of getting rid of him if they're not giving us enough money. Let's see. Let's start from the top. Arsenal should do fast on the right deal. We'll talk about Rice. It seems like we're getting into Diaby every time and never gets him. Yeah, there's a lot of those kind of players. Yes, I'm okay. Ake, you're welcome. I appreciate it, sir. People are crying that you're saying Havertz. We'll talk about him. Gabriel. So if we give up Diaby for Kai Havertz, I will go ballistic. I don't really think they fit in the same role. I think it would be possible to get both. I think that one it's possible to get both, but you have to wait and see. Why always latest news, but other clubs are busy signing, but on always latest. I want us to get that thing off our mind. As I was saying to Sonic yesterday, it is only Liverpool and Brighton that have signed players. There's no one else who has signed players. Like in the Premier League, who else has signed players? Man United have not signed anyone. Arsenal have not signed anyone. Chelsea have not signed anyone. The transfer window opened 2 days ago. Like, if you're panicking within the first 3 days, then you're going to have a long transfer window. As an Arsenal fan, you're going to get your heart broken so many times, Frederick. Let's see. Have you ever seen an Italian team buying a player for 100 million before? But no, Inter Milan can definitely not give us 400 million for him. I'm hearing that Spanish and Italian leagues are broke somehow. But if you try and buy a player from there for that, I was joking about the 100 million, but 50 million, I don't care. We want 50 million for Balogun or 40 million plus add-ons or something like that, because don't sell him for like 20 million after such a good season. Because if it was us buying, look at Kai said 120 million after like 14 or 15 good months. Come on, man. We'll also talk about others like Lavia. Declan Rice's percentage, I will get to that. We'll get 25 million for Balogun, says Sonic. Hopefully not. But I have a feeling we could sell him. I think I have like a 60% feeling like we could sell him. So let's talk about the players that we now want. And let's start with Moussa Diaby. Let's start on the latest on Moussa Diaby. So according to reports from L'Equipe in France, Arsenal have moved in recent weeks and are now in pole position to sign Bayer Leverkusen's Moussa Diaby. Now, wait for them. Just wait for how much they're going to say. They're going to ask for like 70 million from us. Like every player now, even if Maitland-Niles was leaving Arsenal right now, we should have asked like for like 40 million, because all these teams are doing this. Players who've never played, players who've been professionals for like 2 years, all of a sudden 200 million or something. Moussa Diaby, I think he would fit perfectly at Arsenal. Number one, I think we need someone who's going to help out Saka on that right side, and also he can push forward players a number 9 or false 9 when needed. We definitely need someone to help Saka, and someone like a Moussa Diaby, I don't know how much is going to be, but if it's like 40 million, I would 100% take him. Even if it's 50 million, maybe, because he does score a bunch of goals over there. So last season, I'll tell you the benefits of having Moussa Diaby at Arsenal. So number one, goals and assists, perfect balance. Last season, we had Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, especially the three of them, even Jesus, but he was injured for 4 months. They're well balanced. No one is going to score 30 goals and no one is going to get 30 assists. It's balanced. 15 goals, 12 assists, 11 goals, 11 assists, 7 goals, 7 assists, like that kind of balance. Now, Moussa Diaby is that kind of player as well. Last season, Moussa Diaby wrote it down. Last season, he played 33 games in the league. He scored 9. He scored 9 goals in the league. In all competitions, he had 14 goals and 11 assists. That is 25 goal contributions in all the games. So that is not bad at all for 14 goals and 11 assists. The previous season, 13 goals in the league, 17 in all competitions, 14 assists. And then the previous season, 10 goals, 15 assists. So that is 25 goal contributions, followed by 31 goal contributions, and then followed by 25. So he's always getting involved in the goals for Bayer Leverkusen since he's been there for the last 3 or 4 seasons. He's been always involved in the goals and assists. So that is the kind of player that Arteta wants right now, the likes of Martinelli and Saka and trusted players who can get goals and assists, not 30 goals. I don't think we are looking for the striker that most of you want, like an Osimhen or a Kane, someone who's going to score 40 goals. I don't think we're looking for that. I think he's looking for strikers who can also come back and get the ball, midfield, play on the right side, potentially play on the left side as well, and balance in terms of goals and assists. So his numbers are not bad. So his numbers very, very good. Another thing that I like about Moussa Diaby doing the taking a look at his stats, the number of games he plays. He played 33 games out of 34 last season in the league, almost 50 in all competitions. The previous season he played 32 games, and the previous season 32 games. So basically, in the league, the last 3 seasons, he has missed 5 games. In 3 seasons, 5 games total. That is perfect. Usually our players get injured here and there. Like even Trossard, when he came to Arsenal, he still got injured for a couple of I think he missed a game or something. Always Nelson will get injured here and there. Nketiah got injured, Jesus got injured, so all our players usually get injured. So I like that he can play a lot of games, and even if he comes to Arsenal, he's not only going to be a backup for Saka, he's going to provide very, very good competition. It's not like a Gnonto from Leeds who's going to be a backup. This guy is going to be heavy competition for Saka, and that is what we need. I think it's healthy having competition. Throughout the whole 2-3 seasons back, I'm always saying you have to start Saka, because I know there's no one who can do whatever he does, like dribbling past players on that side. But if you get someone like a Moussa Diaby, I'll be happy to say, you know what, as Saka played the last 2 games, fine. You have a Champions League game, you can start Diaby without being like, oh my goodness, we've not started Saka. No, so I want that kind of balance. So Diaby, we have been linked to him according to reports. We are linked to a lot of players, but this time it's not as much as always. We usually get linked by to 100 players. Right now it's like 5 to 7 players. We know, hopefully get at least 3 of them, because it would be a disaster if it ended up getting none of them. But Moussa Diaby, we are looking at him potentially as a backup for Saka on that right side of competition for Saka. And he can also play on the left side, and he can also play as a center forward if needed. So that is one to keep an eye on. Now, if we get Moussa Diaby, let's also talk about Havertz a bit. There's no latest news. The latest news is just that we are getting close to signing him. So I think it's time to start preparing maybe to start changing our minds on Havertz, because it's going to be an Arsenal player. So yes, you can abuse him before he comes to Arsenal, or whatever you want to do. I don't like people abusing players, but if you don't like him or whatever, if you don't agree with the idea, that is fine. But after he joins Arsenal, you basically have to support him, because he's the one who's going to play there. If you want to score goals and assists, we're going to have to support him either way. So if we sign Havertz, which is looking likely, and you sign Diaby as well, all of a sudden you have let's talk about the ones that we have. Let's talk about the 4 positions up front. So including Odegaard. So you will have Smith Rowe, you'll have Nketiah, Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, Fabio Vieira. Nelson has just signed a new contract. Trossard is there as well. That is already 9 players. Now, remember Pepe, I know he's going to go, but he's not gone anywhere yet. So that is 10 players. Balogun could go, is not gone anywhere else fast. 11 players. So if you had Havertz as well and Moussa Diaby, that is like 13 players for 4 positions, if I'm not wrong. I think that's like 13 players, and I might even have forgotten someone. Marquinhos is also coming back. He might be sold or something. But that is like 13 players for those 4 positions, left wing, right wing, Odegaard's position, and up front as well. So we have to think we are probably going to sell people. Now, we think Pepe is definitely going to go. It's looking like Balogun could be loaned out or sold. Hopefully, you get good money for him. But then Nelson is staying for sure. He's signed a new contract. Saka obviously is not going anywhere. Jesus is not going anywhere. Havertz is getting signed. Martinelli is not going anywhere. Odegaard is not going anywhere. And you were told Smith Rowe is definitely staying. So that leaves Nketiah and Fabio Vieira. Maybe people's wishes of selling Nketiah could actually come true. Yesterday I looked at it, I was like, no, I don't think Nketiah and Holding will actually go anywhere, because one of their age, someone like Holding is still young, and Nketiah signed a new contract recently. Maybe he'll not be sold. Maybe I just still feel like he can help Arsenal. But Smith Rowe as well, even though we said he's going to stay, or they said that he's going to stay, you have to get wide. Where does Nketiah play? Where does Smith Rowe play? And where does Fabio Vieira play? Let's say Havertz is going to play the Xhaka role, fine. Fabio Vieira can help Odegaard out, fine. But where does Smith Rowe play? Because left side, you have Martinelli and you have Trossard as well. So is Smith Rowe a third option? I wouldn't really imagine he'd want to be that, although he's Arsenal blood and everything. Fabio Vieira as well. If Havertz is going to be using the Odegaard role, what happens to Fabio Vieira? Is he going to be pushed to the right side? We've seen Fabio Vieira playing on the right side. But then again, if we sign Diaby, there's already Saka and Diaby there. There's also Reece Nelson, who can play both sides too. So I would be a bit, if we sign Diaby and Havertz, I'd be worried about not concerned or anything, but worried about their futures at Arsenal. Nketiah, Smith Rowe, and Vieira. There's a higher chance that Vieira will stay because he's only been here for 1 year. So Nketiah and Smith Rowe, some of your wishes could come true. Nketiah could end up leaving, and Smith Rowe, that one I don't want to go, man. Nketiah, if he leaves, I'll be like, you know what? I see it is not really what you want as fans. Yes, the manager might want him, but I'll be like, you know what? Thank you, especially for the last minute goals against Man United and all that. But maybe it's time to move on. But Smith Rowe would be hard. I don't want Smith Rowe to go anywhere. I want Smith Rowe to remain as an Arsenal player. Like he's the reason why he didn't contribute last season is because he was injured. It's not because he's a bad player. The previous season, these two were our best players. Then the previous season, 2020, 2021, or around there, basically these two players saved Arsenal. Like we were losing game after game after game, and we expected a loss against Chelsea. Up stepped Saka, up stepped Smith Rowe, and brilliant. 2 seasons ago, Smith Rowe 10 plus goals in the Premier League, brilliant. And he was scoring against big teams. He scored at Old Trafford, he scored at Stamford Bridge as well, Smith Rowe. So he can also contribute against those bigger teams. The way he can run, the way he can play on the left side, and also in the Xhaka role if you're playing an attacking formation in a particular game, I would not want him to go. So I'd be worried about those two players. For Nketiah, 80% would say that is fine, let Nketiah go. And some would actually say, let Nketiah go to West Ham so that he can help us with the deal of Declan Rice. Speaking of Declan Rice, Declan Rice preference remains a move to Arsenal with braced for an imminent 100 million bid. A lot of dependable journalists have already said the 100 million bid has been sent. Rice has his heart set on joining Mikel Arteta, will not encourage approaches from any other Arsenal's rivals, says Nizar. Now, if that is actually true and he says not to Man City, he wants Arsenal, we have to all go and hug him because it's very easy. I know it's very easy to say, Man City are coming in for him, let me go, because you're guaranteed trophies, you're guaranteed to play under the best manager in the world, Guardiola, you're guaranteed to play next to the best striker in Haaland, next to the best creative midfield and De Bruyne. Nowadays, you can even throw the likes of Stones there. Now he's one of the best defenders who can play in midfield as well. Like, all of those players have improved. And he'd like that as well. Like, he's not the finished product. So he knows if you go to like a Guardiola team, he's going to take it to the next level. That is what Guardiola has done to people like Kyle Walker and Nathan Ake. Like Nathan Ake used to be comedy. We used to laugh at him. Like Chelsea have Nathan Ake. He's been sent on loan to Bournemouth. Now look at him at Man City. Is no joke. Same with Stones. People are laughing at Stones being bought for 50 million. No one is laughing now. Like those are quality players. Even Grealish, people have said 100 million is too much. He looks very good from last season. Very, very good, not only on the pitch, even outside in terms of organizing parties and being the party guy. It looks like he does everything for Man City. So he knows like if he goes to Man City, he will be improved by Guardiola. So if he chooses Arsenal and he for sure allows what Arteta has told him about whatever you're trying to do next season and what maybe is the difference in terms of closing that 5-point gap and everything, I'd respect him even more because no West Ham fan wants him to come to Arsenal because of being a London rival. And also, apparently now that they've won that Conference League, they believe that West Ham is a bigger club than Arsenal. Good for them. So it would be perfect. Also, Miguel Delaney reports that Arsenal are seeking to make Declan Rice and Romeo Lavia their new midfield for next season, with another bid to be put in for the West Ham captain and progress being made for the Southampton youngsters. So we already know about Rice. Hopefully, we will get him very soon. I'm still 92% confident you're going to get him. But Romeo Lavia has emerged in the reports as well. So we want Romeo Lavia too. So Romeo Lavia would not be a good signing if we forgot about Declan Rice and Caicedo and then you sign Lavia. I would not be happy with that. But if we get Caicedo and Lavia or Rice and Lavia, I would be okay with that. Yes, yesterday I said that Lavia would not be on my top 5 list. I'd still give you 5 players I'd prefer on top of him or 4 players that I'd prefer instead of him. But if he's the one we want and he's still a quality player, he's still young, he can also come and learn from the experienced players who are there like Partey, that would be perfect. That would be perfect if you're getting him alongside Rice. So we want Lavia as well. And actually on Moussa Diaby, it's reported that we are favorites to sign Moussa Diaby. And for Lavia, we are in talks with him as well. Now, if Chelsea sign Caicedo, I doubt they're going to sign Lavia as well. You would expect a couple of teams to come in for him. I would not be surprised to hear Tottenham want him or Man United want him or anything like that. But this would be a brilliant signing because last season he was great for Southampton, great in a poor Southampton team. So sometimes it can be very easy to be good in a good team, but when you're good in a poor team, like the likes of Ward-Prowse, then that is why people are like, yeah, you're a very good player. If you're very good in a poor team, Lavia could be one of those players. So if Lavia comes and Rice comes and you have Partey and you have Jorginho as well remaining in the club, I have a feeling, I don't know why, I have a feeling like between Lokonga and Tavares, I feel like one of them is going to be here next season. I feel like one of them is going to be sold or loaned out and one of them is going to remain here at least until January. Lokonga or Tavares, I'm not sure who. I feel like one of them is going to be given a chance because of the Carabao Cup and just the number of games you're going to be playing. So again, I said I don't think Lokonga is a terrible player. I feel like we threw him to the deep end because we are playing him in a number 6 role all by himself against the likes of De Bruyne. Of course, he's going to struggle. I always believe like he's better in a 4-2-3-1, and maybe he becomes a better player if he plays next to Rice and Thomas Partey together. Maybe he becomes a better player knowing that he has protection from Partey and also the likes of Rice and also someone to turn to and to ask what to do, you know. Now, the problem of like 2 years ago, like when Lokonga had started, like he would play in midfield and then he turns to his left side, it's Tavares. He turns to his right side, it's Maitland-Niles. Who do you ask for advice from that? There's no one. And again, he'd look behind young players. Now, he would have other players to ask advice from, like the likes of Rice and Partey, even Jorginho. Jorginho has played in the top level for a long time. So maybe he does improve if he plays alongside those players, but not as the number 6 by himself. Not in that position. But I have a feeling at least one of them will stay, either Tavares or Lokonga. So we have to wait and see. I want quality in midfield, but I also want numbers in midfield. I don't want to have 2 players in midfield alone. I want at least 3. In those, so I've already talked about the front 4 positions. These other 2 positions, the number 8 and the number 6, we will have, if we sign them, Rice, Lavia, Jorginho, Thomas Partey. Those are 4. So that is why I feel like Lokonga could come back as well. I don't think El Neni will be seeing El Neni in an Arsenal jersey for too much longer, unfortunately. So I don't know if you're going to go for another one, but according to reports from like 2 weeks ago, you are looking for 2 or 3 midfielders. So if you get Lavia, Caicedo, we're not getting Caicedo, forget about him. Rice, Lavia, and Havertz, I think that would be done. I don't think they'll bring another midfield. I think they'll start looking for players like Moussa Diaby and a fullback, and that could be 5 signings. I expected 5 signings, and we could get 5 signings, period. The likes of Rice and Rice expecting it to be this month and then done, and then some like the Moussa Diaby one could carry on until like next month. So we have to wait and see what happens in terms of that. So that's the latest on Moussa Diaby, Romeo Lavia, Declan Rice, Havertz, BALOGUN, and William Saliba's new contract. I hope I didn't forget anyone. Let me see what you guys have to say. William says Arsenal will never win a trophy again. Okay, Frederick says, why Arsenal selling our players on a cheap price, but when Arsenal buying, they tell us more money. That is what you need to do as well. Frederick, you need to ask for a lot of money. Ismail says, if Arsenal want to buy a player like BALOGUN, they'll ask for 100 million. Yep. So we need to do the same as well, because we don't really need to sell him. It's not like an El Neni or like a holding that we want to sell, or players like Cedric that you want to get rid of. BALOGUN doesn't have to go anywhere. I'm very happy to keep him. So if you're not paying enough money for him, get lost. The way Chelsea told us with Havertz, and they've told Man United with Mount, they want a lot of money. Chelsea are going to get 70 million or something for Havertz, 70 or 80 million for Mount. They're going to get 45 million, I think, from Man City for Kovacic. They're going to get like 40 million for Gallagher from either Newcastle or Tottenham or something. That's a lot of money for someone like Gallagher. Like, what has Gallagher done for Chelsea? Like, nothing. And they're going to sell him for like 40, 45 million or something like that. So we also need to sell our players for a lot of money. BALOGUN is a great player, but I don't think 100 million is the price tag. I was joking about the price tag, 100 million, but I still want 50 million. I want half of that, either 40 million plus add-ons, or just straight up 50 million. I don't want anything less than that. Now, if you start hearing about 25 or 30 million, you're going to be that would be disastrous, because as someone said already, we are being people are eating our money, so we might as well eat their money as well. My fear is that we don't act fast on Rice deal. We might end up not signing him. I'm still not concerned about Rice. I'm still confident that he's going to be an Arsenal player. The others, yes. All the others, yes. Cancelo, Diaby, they might end up not being our players. Arsenal should keep BALOGUN. He's one of our future strikers, says Sylvester. I'd love to keep him, but he wants to be a first choice striker. He's not going to play ahead of Jesus. That is not possible. So You don't want a player who's not happy in the team. That is what I also try to avoid. I think we've passed that stage of having unhappy players in the team and not getting along with the manager and all that. We are past that now. We are building a team that is all together, same idea with the manager, same idea amongst themselves, good culture and everything. You have to look at all that as well. So if a player like that is here and he doesn't want to play, you just get rid of them, but you get good money for them. If they're not getting good money, keep him. You can stay on the bench. If you're not happy, stay on the bench until you get good money. Can Balogun do it in the Premier League? And that's my question, says Lee. That is what I wanted to find out. So that is why, personally, I would have sent him to another Premier League team on loan for this season and see how he does. If he goes and plays 36 games and scores 2 goals when his team has scored like 50 goals and he misses a bunch of chances, then he'd be like, maybe he can't do it in the Premier League. Or if he goes and he gets dominated by centre-backs and defensive midfielders and he looks very weak against Premier League defenders, then you start asking questions. But as of now, I don't know. We can't know. I think he could be good, but you have to wait and see. That if he stays at Arsenal, goes to another team on loan. Talib says, why Havertz wrong move is more of an average player, not a good move for Arsenal. Is too slow and not consistent. Again, as I said yesterday, if it is the board that wants him, then you can question it. If it's Arteta who wants him, I'm not going to question it. They've 90% of the players they've signed have been great, despite us not wanting them. I'll keep repeating that. We said the same thing about Ramsdale and Ben White and many other players. Great live stream. I appreciate it, Ake. Thank you for the super chat. I'm just seeing that one right now. Really, really thank you. I wish I could give this money to Edu so that they can add it to the Rice deal. I don't know if that would help. Apparently, they want millions of money. We need a perfect player, not a makeshift player, not to Havertz, says Muyewa. If West Ham didn't accept 200 million for Rice, let's go for Amrabat. Fiorentina. Good player. Really impressed with him. For Morocco, really, really impressed in midfield. He was at the World Cup, so really, really impressed with him. Very good midfielder, but this would be a second option for me. Like Rice and Amrabat, yes. Rice and Lavia, yes, but not Amrabat as the first option. No, I really, that Premier League experience and all that, I still feel like that is very important. I need someone who can like change our game completely. You know, these players being signed from outside England. Did Amrabat play for Watford? Am I dreaming? I'm not sure. I don't know if he played for an English team. I'm not sure. Don't take my word for it. I feel like he played for an English team. It could have been Watford. Am I confusing him with another player? If he hasn't played in the Premier League, you never know what to expect from him in the Premier League. That is the problem. So I want a player like Rice, and then we can talk about players like Amrabat. I'll support Havertz if he deserves it. You don't just come to us and expect respect. You can't flop. Yes, if I don't have to respect him all right away. But again, on the other side, you don't have to abuse him right away. Like, let's sit down and watch how he plays. And then if he doesn't impress, then people can come with the comments of it. I told you, we say this to Arteta, why did you sign that? So at that time, we can say that. But also, if he comes and plays well, I want to see the apologies as well. I was wrong. Arteta was right. I was wrong. Edu was right. I was wrong. Havertz is great. And also to those Chelsea fans, because I've seen Chelsea fans laughing. I cannot wait. I'd give anything to see Havertz scoring a brace for Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. Like, if that is the only thing that happens to us next, then I'd be so happy. I just want to see that. I just want to see what they would say. Vieira can leave tomorrow or go out on loan. Not good enough. He plays like a liability. For him, I can't really predict what is going to happen. There's a chance he could be loaned out. You never know. If he gets loaned out as such kind of a player, I can see going back to like an FC Porto for a season. With Partey and Rice will be good in midfield. Leave Caicedo alone. Let's move on. I still seriously need a third player, honestly, because I think Rice can also play in the Havertz role, or I'm already calling it a Havertz role, the Xhaka role. If needed, Rice can also play there. So what happens if, we also have to keep in our minds that Partey can get injured, and that always scares me. So what happens if he's injured and you have PSG and Man United in the same week? What are you going to do about that? Are you going to play Rice every single game? He has the capabilities, yes, but rotation. I know you still have Jorginho as well, but I need another person. I'm looking at Havertz as someone who's going to help Odegaard and Fabio Villa. So I want Partey and Rice, and then another two, so Jorginho and someone else. I still need another midfield on top of that. Even if it meant you're not getting a forward player like Havertz or Diaby, I want my midfield sorted out fast. Arteta wants to sell Partey. I don't know if it's him who wants to sell him. If it's him, I still think for that, I think that would be a mistake. I wouldn't sell Partey at all, because if you sell him, all of a sudden you're starting to look at for another fourth midfield on top of that. So I would not really sell him. Rice is a fantastic player, no doubt, but I personally considered his price too high, says Toby. And the price is too high, yes. That I agree with. That is why you also need to sell our players for high prices, because everyone else is doing it anyway. Please don't forget we are having 4 major competitions next season, so Balogun can still play regularly in the FA Cup. But he doesn't want to play in the FA Cup, The FA Cup starts in January. So what happens to him for the next, for the first 5 months? And the Carabao Cup, it's very easy to say you're going to get game time, and then you get Man City in the first round and you're out. And then what next? Where will he play? He's not going to play in the Champions League. So you have to promise players like this, like you're going to give them game time in like 3 competitions. So and he also has to want to stay. That is the problem. Any news on Ruben Neves? I think his news went silent. I think he's like going to Barcelona or something. I've stopped hearing him being linked to Arsenal or Man United or any teams like that. I don't know why. All of a sudden you hear a lot of teams want to play, and then after 1 year he's done. Like Hassim Mawar from Lyon. When you wanted him, multiple teams wanted him. They were talking about 60 million, and then right now he's going on a free. Even Tielemans is gone on a free to Aston Villa. I didn't hear any team wanting him. So I don't know why. Maybe it's because still think both of them are good players, but maybe it's because our targets have changed. Maybe the last 2-3 seasons you're just trying to get top 6 and top 4. And now since you're trying to fight for the title and you are back in the Champions League, maybe they could have been looking at Neves and Tielemans and said, yes, they are good, but they are good if you're looking to get top 4, maybe not good if you're trying to win the titles. So that's the only thing I can imagine. We don't have to sell Partey. Definitely not, Benson. We should keep him. We shouldn't even consider selling him. I am happy to keep him for the next 2 years and let him go on a free when he's like 33 years of age. I'm fine with that if he doesn't want to extend a contract. But selling him, not now. Next season, maybe if you've already gotten the likes of Rice, and next season you can get another midfielder, that is fine, because I think he'll be 31 or 32. But right now, no, not this season. He still had a good season 80% of the time. This transfer window is crazy. It's 3 days in tactical, it's already crazy. Like the number of news outlets reporting different things. Speaking of Caicedo, I had another journalist reporting yesterday that Arsenal have not yet given up on Caicedo, that they still want him. So I was like, so which one is it? Have Arsenal forgotten about Caicedo, or are they going for Caicedo? Because sometimes yes, the likes of Fabrizio and David Johnson, they are 95% correct. There's always that 5% that there could be a change of mind from the team or something like that. You never know. But as I said yesterday, I would not be surprised if we had tomorrow Caicedo is joining Arsenal, and then, what happened to the rest of the players? And then we stopped hearing about Havertz or anything like that. We hear that Havertz deal has collapsed. Arsenal are getting Caicedo. So you never know. So we just have to wait and see in terms of players like that. I want Arsenal to get Rice and Havertz on time, because Chelsea can pull ahead on the deal. For Rice, I'd be very surprised if Rice goes to Chelsea. You can be worried about Man City because of the qualities of Man City in their positioning and the way they run as a club. But for him to go to Chelsea, he used to be a Chelsea player, and they basically chased him away, and they left the likes of Mount there. So there's also a bit of bad blood there. Let's see. Gundogan, any news about him? Even that one has not gone silent yet. There's still talks that Arsenal could still want him. But again, for Gundogan, it's going to be hard unless Saudi Arabia say they don't want him anymore. If they say they don't want him anymore, then we have a chance. Unless he feels like, I've won everything in the Premier League, I don't need to stay in the Premier League, I want to go to a different country like Barcelona, to a different league and play for Barcelona, maybe something like that. So let's wait. But this one is not yet over. Gundogan is not over yet. I'd love that one. I'd love to get Gundogan at Arsenal, man. I had some people saying don't get Gundogan, is finished. Now, I hope you watched him for that last 1 month at Man City, especially those clutch moments, those final 6-7 games. He knows how to, he just starts scoring goals every single day. So he would be a very good addition to us, but not just him and Lavia, for example. No, I still need Rice on top of that. Any news on Joao Cancelo? Fabrizio Romano was the last one to report about it like 5 days ago. He said we still want him, and it's only us and another team that want him. Was it like, I don't know if it's a Spanish team or something, but yes, that one is still going on. I'd not be surprised if we got him. I'd be very happy to get him, but my goodness, price. This is a very good player, even though Man City don't want him because he's not getting along with Guardiola. They can say 80 million for these days. The way the market has gone, goodness me, they can even say 100 million for Cancelo. And then what do? You're not going to pay 100 million for 4 players in the same transfer window. But again, as I said yesterday, if you had to ask me, choose 2 players that you want right now immediately, I'd say Rice and Cancelo. Those would be the first 2 right away, because I know the difference you'd make to our team. He basically was the first player to play that inverted role in the Premier League. And then left side, right side, same thing for him. He's very good in terms of attacking. You can play him in multiple roles. He's already played in the Premier League. He's won things at Juventus. He's won things at Man City, won things at Bayern Munich. He basically won 2 league titles in the same season for Bayern Munich and for Man City. So if you want experience, right there. Oyewusi says, good job, bro. I feel it will make a lot of sense if Arsenal can wrap up on all signings before preseason. I think that is what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get at least 2 or 3 before the transfers, the preseason starts, just like they did last season. Because the Jesus one was very quickly. We heard about it, yes, but it was wrapped up before preseason. Fabio Vieira was wrapped up before preseason, but he was injured when he came in. And Zinchenko was also signed like right before our first game or something of preseason. So I think they would be looking to get at least 3 players before preseason starts, and then maybe 1 or 2 more after that, depending on what happens. And also, I've seen a lot of people asking about when we are going to sell these players. We have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure we are going to sell players. Speaking of selling players, today Maitland-Niles' contract has expired, and he's left Arsenal. So thank you to him for all the Arsenal memories. I don't like being mean, but there's not too many, but there's a couple of important ones. He helped us win the FA Cup. Thank you for that. In very, very good seasons for us in terms of the FA Cup season, beating Man City and beating Chelsea when no one expected it. Thank you for that. And thank you for 5 very, very good penalties while wearing an Arsenal shirt. Very, very cheeky. One of the best penalty takers we've seen in England all those years. So, and yes, obviously coming through the ranks, Arsenal Academy, all that, it is not easy to come from the academy and make it to the top. So well done for you for that as well. But unfortunately, that is where it stops. I don't really have too many other memories of Maitland-Niles, unfortunately. That is what I've always been saying. That is it. Like, if Niles leaves right now, I would not be telling my kids about it in the next 10 years, to put it simply. I don't think many of you will be telling your kids and your brothers and your nieces and nephews that, my goodness, 10 years ago, there was this player who was called Maitland-Niles. Unfortunately, you're not going to do it, but you're going to be telling them about Saka and Martinelli and those kind of players. So thank you, Niles, but there's not too much to remember him for, and I think it was time to leave, to be honest, 2 or 3 years ago. Why are Arsenal always going for Chelsea second-hand players, says Jim. Okay, I don't feel like Havertz is a second-hand player. The others, yes, they are all into their 30s and they've already won everything. You know, players like Willian and Cech and those players, I still think Cech was okay for 60% of his Arsenal career. 40% was terrible, but he still made some world-class saves that I remember. The problem with those players, someone like Cech will come to Arsenal. I don't know if the network is going down. Sorry, but hope it's okay. You can still hear me. Players like Cech, they've already won the Premier League. They've already won the Champions League. They've already won the FA Cup. Willian has already won the Europa League, the Premier League. Luis has already won everything. He's had a World Cup in his home country. You know, they've done everything. So for us to sign them from Chelsea, they don't really need to win anything else. For Jorginho, I felt it was a bit different because he still wanted to win the Premier League and he was coming to a team that wanted to compete for it. So you're still hungry to win a Premier League. So Havertz could be the same. Yes, he's won the Champions League, but there's a lot that he hasn't won, things like the Premier League. So he'd still want to win that. But for the others from before, I definitely agree. Especially there's one that usually hurts me until today. There's one, not from Chelsea, from Man United. Sylvester. That thing, I still dream about Sylvester until today. I couldn't go to school because he had Sylvester at Arsenal. People would laugh at you, you know, because you couldn't even concentrate on the science exam because of thinking about, we've given, Man United have Cristiano Ronaldo and they've given us Sylvester, you know. that was the bad one. That one I definitely, this was a very bad leftovers from Man United. And Chelsea, there's definitely a few. Gallas had come out of 2 good seasons with Chelsea winning titles, but giving them Ashley Cole and then taking Gallas, I don't think they're on the same level. That was also bad. So yes, there's a few. But for Havertz, because he's young, he's 24, he's still not won everything that he wants to win. He's still not comfortable in terms of his career. I still think like he wants to prove himself in a lot of aspects. I would love Diaby so much. Would be a great starting Champions League nights. Yes, he's used to a lot of those European competitions. Leverkusen is always in the Champions League or Europa League. And in league games to give wingers a rest. We also need Gundogan says Ndaba. How about Arsenal former player Gnabry? There's always been links with him, but if you get someone like a Diaby, I don't think you're going to get someone like a Gnabry. I don't know how much they're going to ask for someone like a Gnabry. I'd love him at Arsenal. I mean, he left Arsenal, he went round to West Brom, to Bayern Munich, I think to another German team. I don't remember the other team. Right now, he's going to come back as a very, very well-experienced player. I don't know if he has any bad blood towards Arsenal because he got rid of him, but either way, I still feel like it would be a good signing. But for decent money, you can go to Bayern Munich and they can tell you 90 million for Gnabry, and then what? These days, I'm scared of how much you're going to be asked for. Arteta should work fast, and they do, because we are playing 4 different competitions this season. We need to sign Rice, Lavia, and Moussa Diaby. I'd be very happy with all 3 of them. Thank you for all the comments. Odegaard, Rice, and Havertz midfield will be a deadly one. If Havertz join Arsenal, I really want to see how Arteta is going to use him. Mostly, maybe it's going to be that Rice, Odegaard, Havertz. Then will Partey be on the bench, or if Partey starts and Rice starts next to him, and then you have Odegaard, will Havertz be on the bench, or will he play him as a striker? I don't like him as a striker. That one I agree with. Unless Arteta totally changes him and all of a sudden he becomes one of the most clinical strikers. I don't know. But in terms of striker, I don't really want to see him in that position unless it's the Odegaard position or the Xhaka position. In a home game, like the first home game of the season against Nottingham Forest, I don't see why you should start like 2 defensive-minded midfielders like Rice and Partey or something like that. You have to have like 1 and then 2 forward players. So you start Martinelli, Saka, Jesus, Odegaard, and someone else. So it's Havertz or Smith Rowe or whoever is going to play there. You have to have like 2 attackers, like 5 players who are going to push forward. So I can't, I've said I definitely think like Rice is going to join Arsenal, and 92%. I'm not going to yet say that Havertz is definitely going to be an Arsenal legend. I'm not going to say that one yet. I still want to see how he's going to fit in at Arsenal, but I'm still going to support him when he joins Arsenal. And I wouldn't really compare him to the other Chelsea players that have come to us when they were like Willian came to Arsenal, he was like 67 years of age. I don't want that. If we get Rice, Havertz, and Cancelo, we definitely win the treble. Hope you're joking, because if you're serious, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. I definitely think like we should be winning trophies this season. Whichever it is, we should be winning trophies. I don't know. I want us to get to a couple of finals as well. By a couple of finals, it means like competing for the league and at least 1 final or something in one of the camp competitions, whether it's FA Cup. It's been long since we won the FA Cup. 3 years is too long. We usually don't go more than that. Or the Carabao Cup or Champions League. If you have to go out, don't go out of. Here are my expectations. I want another league challenge this season. I don't want us to all of them are predicting Arsenal to finish 4th, 5th, 6th. They're even saying Chelsea is going to finish above us. Tottenham is going to finish above us. I don't want us to prove them right. I want us to compete for the title yet again. For Champions League, you cannot say we are going to win the Champions League. We've not been there for 7 years, and there's still a lot of players to buy before you win the Champions League against Man City and teams like Real Madrid. They've been there every single season, semi-final, final. But I also don't want us to get eliminated in the first round. No. Get to the quarterfinal, something like that. If it's a very good season, semi-final is still very hard. Get to a quarterfinal. If you're eliminated by Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, not 10-2 on aggregate or something like that, like we are used to from previous years. If you go to the quarterfinal, you lost 3-2 to Bayern Munich on aggregate, then you'll be like, okay, we've seen ourselves in the Champions League. It's been long. Let's now go to another transfer market and see what we need to come and now compete for the Champions League. Now we've already seen what we need to compete for the Premier League. Let's go back next season and compete for it again. Let's try and win it. Let's try and win the FA Cup or something. But from for the Champions League, it's very hard to just say we are back, we're going to win it. No, you're going to go and face Vinicius, and you realize Vinicius is not the players they've been facing from Southampton and Nottingham. But don't get eliminated in the first round. Let's see how it is. Reach at least the quarterfinal, and then get eliminated respectfully, 4-2, 3-2 on aggregate, give a good account of yourself, and then come back the next season and then know what you need to compete for the Champions League. But I wouldn't say Arsenal is going to win the treble. We need good players on the bench to cover up any lapses, says JJ. Yeah, exactly what you need, the likes of Diaby and those kind of players. Because someone like Partey, if he played badly the last 3 years, you can't do anything. There was no one on the bench, so you have to start him. Same with Aubameyang before he left. Especially the first 2-3 seasons, Aubameyang was very good. If he plays badly, there's no one else to bring. Martinelli was like 17 years of age, 2019, around there, so you can't really bring him on. And Smith Rowe, Saka did not exist at that time, so we had to play players like Aubameyang and Lacazette. Right now, we want to create competition. If you need to rest, you can be rested, and whoever is coming on is good. If you're playing badly 2 games in a row, there's someone else on the bench, so you can't afford to play badly. Someone else is going to replace you. So we also have to insert that kind of fear and competition into the players. You're not comfortable. If you play badly, you're not going to start. And Tactical says Diaby is great competition for the Star Boys. The thing with Havertz, not even Chelsea fans know his true position. That is true. I'm not sure how helps the team, because what's his position is a burden. I do agree that no one knows his position. I still feel like he's a better number 10, but we don't play in a 4-2-3-1, so that is why I'm going to be interested to see where Arteta is going to use him. But if it's Arteta who has said he wants him, and they want to give him, as I said yesterday, 200,000 a week, like, he's not crazy. I am imagining Arteta is not crazy. 200,000 a week, 60 million. That one is not someone who's going to come and we expect little from him. Like, if you sign such a player for that kind of money and for that kind of wage, that is someone you're expecting to hit the ground running right away. Like, not be the main man and score 9 goals like you did at Chelsea. Like, you have to be the main man, double figure goals. Like, let's say 15 to 20 goal contributions in a season, because our team is a mix, but not come to Arsenal and then get 3 goals and like 5 assists after getting signed for 60 million. That would be very disappointing. So if it's him who wants him, I'm very interested to see what he's seen from him. Maybe he's looking at the Leverkusen games and he's like, there's something I've seen from his Leverkusen days. I can use it at Arsenal. This is what he's going to do, because that is a lot of money. And as many of you know, as many of us know, there's a lot of better players, as we've all said. So if he's actually gone for him and said, this is the one out of hundreds of billions of players in the world, that could be too many, hundreds of millions of players in the world, he'd be like, if he wants this one, then I'll sit down and be like, you know what, I'm not going to say anything. Let's wait and see what happens. Because 60 million is a lot of money. So he probably has seen something that we haven't seen. Please, but let me again say it. I don't think he's a bad player. I also think he's been in a very, very bad team, and also Chelsea have used him very, very badly, because them using him as a striker, I've never agreed with that. Like, you cannot really play him as a striker. And also he's going to be playing for a better team, a top team, not a below average team like Chelsea. He's moving from 12th to 2nd. Over here, you're not going to play with players like Ziyech. You're going to play with Saka. You're going to play with Martinelli. You're going to play with Jesus, with Odegaard. You're not coming to play with Gallagher. So sometimes also playing next to good players helps you improve your own game. So let's hope that happens. Is Rice a defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder? He's a number 6 Partey role who can also play in the Xhaka role, and he can also play as a centre-back, but preferably, basically can play him in all those 3 positions. Maybe not in the Odegaard one, but if you're trying to really like defend and you want Partey, Xhaka, and Rice on the pitch at the same time, he's a guy who can play that. But I would expect him to play in the Rice role, in the Partey role, or play with Partey in midfield. Maybe some games you're going to turn to a 4-2-3-1 and then they start, but defensive minded mostly, because he used to be a centre back. It really don't see Man City winning this season. I really don't see Man City winning this. Oh, you're a brave guy if you're actually going to bet against Man City. Like, I'm looking at that team, I'm like, if they get Vardiol from Leipzig and they get Rice from West Ham, you might as well just forget about next season. We might just start giving up on football and look for another sport to watch, because they could easily, this next season, there's now something that they've not done. They can easily say, Guardiola can be like, you know what, there's 2 things now we've not done. Can we win 4 trophies in a season? Let's add the Carabao Cup to the treble. They can say that because they were eliminated by Southampton. That was by mistake. They could have won that as well. And they can say, you know what, Arsenal's an invincible season. Let's try and get an invincible season again, because when you've won everything, sometimes you can get bored. As we usually hear from the people who have money. They usually say when you get a lot of money, sometimes it becomes boring. Maybe it applies the same to people who win the titles. Maybe for some of them, it could be like, we've won everything, so what next? We don't need to win anything else. They can say that, but they can also say, you know what, let's try and finish the season unbeaten. Let's try and win all 4 cups in one. So let's add the Super Cup as well, and the Community Shield, and the Club World Cup as well. They can ask for all of them, If Arsenal sign and fix all loopholes, I see them winning, if not 3 trophies. You're very confident, Oyewusi. I appreciate your confidence, but don't expect 3 trophies. You'll be disappointed. 3 is a lot. If you want 3 trophies, then we need to go back to the market and get 10 players, not 3 or 4. 3, that's that number of trophies. I mean, Man City don't have a lot of players like that, but Haaland is like 3 players in one, De Bruyne is like 3 players in one, and then full of experience. Like, they can afford to sell Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Myers, and Laporte in the same transfer window. They even want to sell Walker. So that means they're going to sign players. Joshua says we are tired of all this hope. We are 3 days into the transfer window, Joshua. So I would advise you not to give up right now, because unless you just log out of social media and you go enjoy yourself, holiday for 2 months, and then come back and check who Arsenal has signed, that is the only way your heart will survive. But in terms of disappointment, we definitely expect a bit more disappointment in the transfer window. Arsenal should go for Milinkovic-Savic. I definitely still want him, Zaf. We need a prolific striker, goal-getter by Kylian Mbappe. How I wish. But 2 points from that. Number 1, I don't think we need a prolific striker. We want a prolific striker. I don't think we need a prolific striker. We need a midfielder. That is what we need. If you've signed all the midfield and sorted out all the midfield's problems and backup for Saka, then we can start talking about a striker. But for now, our problem is midfield. Our problem is not striker. We scored 5 or something less goals than Man City. We scored 88 goals last season. I think we scored 103 goals in total last season. I don't think we need a prolific striker. Would it be good to get one in the future? Yes. If we get one right now, I'm not going to complain. If we get Osimhen right now, I'd be celebrating the whole day. I'd not sleep. I'd be very, very happy. But if we go and get Osimhen and then we don't get our midfield and we are stuck with only Partey, Elneny, and Lokonga, then I'd be like, did you really need to sign Osimhen when you need to sign a midfielder? So you have to look at priorities first. I don't think we need a prolific striker. We want a prolific striker. We need a midfielder. Midfielders, not even one. We need midfielders. And for me, I still want Jesus and Martinelli and Saka to start next season, actually, if I hadn't made that clear before. So we scored a lot of goals. There was different contribution. Saka, and maybe Arteta himself does not want to be, maybe he wants a mix. That is what it's looking like. He wants a mix of players who can contribute goals and assists. Trossard, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, all of those players can get you 10 goals, 10 assists in a season. And that is the same with Havertz. We have to wait and see, because he's not really done that at Chelsea. And Moussa Diaby, as I've read the stats, he's been doing that at Bayer Leverkusen. So let's wait and see what happens. But in terms of prolific striker, I don't think we're even going to get one either way. Especially if we sign Havertz, I don't think we're going to get one. And especially if we get Diaby as well, you might as well forget about it. Arsenal Twitter is a mess right now. You deserve a Medal of Honor for going through it every day. It's crazy, man. It is not easy, let me tell you. Trying to, because I know people have different opinions. So since I'm coming out as some people would say over positive, because I think Rice is definitely going to join Arsenal and all that. And I'm a big supporter of Arteta and they do and all that. Now, trying to convince people who don't like Arteta and they do and think we're going to lose Rice, it is very hard. It is very hard. Oh, Goodness me. Just imagine if he goes to Man City. I don't know what I would do, man. I'd still come live, but it would be a very tough live stream. That would be a very tough live stream. But we won't need to do that. He will be an Arsenal player. Arsenal Twitter is also a very poisonous place, tactical. Sometimes I read a couple of comments and I just log out. People will be like, you'd literally log on to Twitter and someone is like, why are we keeping Odegaard is not good enough? And I'm like, really? Okay. And I just log out. I'm like, yeah, that is enough for the day. That is enough for the day. Let me just log out. Is there any update on Lavia? We will recap that at the end as always. Oyewusi says, just a question, is it compulsory we look for players within England? Why can't we look elsewhere, Syria and the likes? Now, the thing with that, Oyewusi, the thing with that, like 4 years ago, we were saying the opposite. We were saying, why are we getting all these players from abroad? Why are we getting players like Socrates? Why are we getting players like Mustafi? Why do we have to go for players like Lacazette? Why do we have to go for goalkeepers like Leno? Can't we do this Premier League players? That is what we were saying back in the day. So right now, I have no problem with us going for Premier League proven players. I have no problem with that. It's very important. You don't have to go for that, but I think if you sign 5 players, you have to get at least 1 or 2 who've played in the Premier League before. So back in the day, when Liverpool was getting Mane from Southampton, people are like, why are we going for Xhaka from Mönchengladbach when Liverpool are getting Mane from the Premier League? Can't we also look for players in the Premier League? People are talking about Dunk. People are talking about Ruben Neves. People are talking about McGinn. People are talking about all those players. So right now, I have no problem with us going for Premier League players. But you don't have to go for all Premier League players. You can get players from abroad. So the likes of Milinkovic-Savic from Italy, great. I would love Kvaratskhelia at Arsenal. Oh my goodness. Napoli have been incredible. I'd want every single Napoli player. Di Lorenzo, bring him to Arsenal. Kim Min-jae, bring him to Arsenal. If you want to bring Zielinski, bring him to Arsenal. If you want to bring Osimhen, bring him. Kvaratskhelia, I'd love every single player from Napoli. Even if you want to bring, who was the former Tottenham player? Ndombele has been playing really well at Napoli. He played really well when he was at Napoli. So I would love players like that as well. If you're going to get not necessarily Ndombele, there's a lot you can get, but we don't have to get players from England. But as of now, I'm happy with us getting players from England, because over the years we've never really signed players from England. We've always been a team that wants players from abroad. Teams like if you remember, I think it was 2007, around there. We started with Nasri from France, and then we went for Arshavin, and then we signed players like Shamak. Oh, bad memories, We used to play Shamak and Benton up front, and I used to wake up in the morning and I'm excited to see Arsenal playing, and we had Shamak and Benton up front. Those are tough memories. Denilson in midfield. So we used to buy a lot of players from abroad. We never used to buy players from England. When Man United was taking Van Persie from us, and Chelsea was taking Torres from Liverpool, we were never doing that. So I'm happy that's signing players from England. How can you say we don't need a prolific striker? But we don't need a prolific striker. We broke our record for scoring our goals last season. That is the most goals we've ever scored in the Premier League history. Do we want a prolific striker? Yes, I for sure want a prolific striker. But we will only talk about strikers after we sorted out our midfield. That is what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't want to hear Arsenal want to buy Osimhen and Harry Kane before we sort out our midfield. That is what I'm saying. We need midfielders. We don't need strikers. Strikers is not our problem. You want me to go through it again? We scored 4 goals away at Aston Villa. We scored 4 goals away at Brighton. We put 3 past Man United. We put 3 past Liverpool. We put 3 past Tottenham. We put 5 past Nottingham. We put 5 past Wolves as well. We scored a lot of goals last season. Goals was never our problem. There's no game out of the 38 games, maybe 1 or 2, and that is when Jesus was injured, where we look at a game and be like, but really, was there a game that you watched last season and you're like, man, we are so bad at striking, we need a striker? Or were you watching a game and you're like, oh my goodness, Holding, no, we want a backup for Saliba, Holding is not good enough? That was our problem. Midfield, Part is not playing well. There's no one on the bench. People are complaining about Arsenal signing Jorginho. That was our problem. Saka has to play every single game. There's no one on the bench. That is our problem. Our problem was never Arsenal is not scoring goals. Look at Man City, they're scoring. No, we scored 88 Premier League goals last season. Saka was scoring. Odegaard added 15 goals to his. If my players, for me, I also prefer a balance. I obviously would love a clinical striker. That is also a way you can win the Champions League as well, because Man City have players like Haaland, as you've mentioned. But if my players are getting, if Trossard was not there as well from the start of the season. If he can get you 8 goals, Havertz gets you 8 goals. Odegaard gets you 10 goals, or even more. Saka gets you 15. Martinelli gets you 15. Jesus was out for 4 months. He still managed 11 goals. If he can get you 15 to 20 goals, if Nketiah is still here, if he can come off the bench, get you 5 goals. Nelson, if he gets more game time, he can get you 5 goals. You ask for 3 from Gabriel. You ask for 2 goals from Ben White, 1 goal from Zinchenko. That will take you to like 100 goals. That is a good balance. You don't need a clinical striker. We need a midfield. We need midfielders. After we get midfielders and we are like, this is good now. Partey, Rice, this is good. Saka has a backup. Diaby is in. We have a fullback. Then, if we have spare change, then we can start talking about strikers. I'd love Osimhen at Arsenal. I would love a player like Giroud or Jack or someone who's going to bring something different to Arsenal, but not now. We don't need a striker right now in June. That is not our problem. But I appreciate your opinion. You might have a different opinion. You might want someone who's going to score 30 goals for you. But what I'm saying is you can survive without a player scoring 30 goals. And last season, the reason we didn't win the league is not because we did not have a goal scorer. I'd not like to believe that. I know people would say Jesus missed a chance against Brighton, but we still conceded 3 goals in that game because he didn't have a backup for Saliba at the back, because Partey has dropped out of form, and we didn't have anyone else to come in for him. People are not happy, Jorginho and all that. And also, if you're going to point out the last part of the season 5 games, we can say Saka was tired. There was no backup for him, but we don't need a striker. We want a striker. 2 different meanings. If Rice went to Man City, Edu's head would be on. Oh, I'd hate to know what people would say. Like, I think I'll just need to sleep, because if he joins Man City, the meltdown, goodness. Balogun is 75 million. Says Levy. Gabriel says I would have Havertz, Rice, Diaby, Lavia, and Vlahovic. Vlahovic, another striker. I mean, if you buy those players, I'd be like, okay, but I'd still want a fullback. If your list contained a fullback, I'd be happy. So that is why I'd say, get me a fullback before Vlahovic, and then if you get those 5 done, then you can go and get Vlahovic. But I wouldn't have Vlahovic in the top 3 signings that we need. John says, you guys talk of midfielders, but minding off defense will always be a problem, but no one will do anything about it. Again, if you have a good midfield, you're not going to concede goals, you know. Your defense starts from a midfield position. If you have Rice and Partey and all of them are making tackles and interceptions and all that, your defense will have it even more easier. Our defense was only a problem when Saliba got injured and Tomiyasu got injured in the same game. That was when our defense became a problem, when those players got injured and we had to bring the likes of Holding, and we couldn't bring Ben White to centre back because we didn't have anyone else to play at right back. I'd want a backup defender, yes, no problem. If you can get a backup defender, no problem. But I still feel like we can also use Ben White as a centre back and then sort out your fullback position with a Cancelo or someone like that if you can, so that when Saliba or Gabriel are not available, you can have Ben White playing there and not Rob Holding. So again, I don't think centre-back is our biggest problem. Later on, backup, fine. Midfielders, John. Midfielders. One will do anything about it, because since over the time Arsenal won their last trophy, they have never had a good defensive line. I mean, again, I kind of disagree with that. There was a time Koscielny and Matsaka were okay, we're not conceding a lot of goals. And I think Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, and Zinchenko played well until some of them started getting injuries, and we had to change the relationship between them, because we had to get players who've not really played a lot. And I'm totally like, do you really think defense is our biggest problem? Do you want Ramsdale to be replaced, or would you want Gabriel to be replaced? Some of you have seen comments saying Gabriel is not good enough, Ben White is not good enough, but I would not agree with that. Like, I'm very far from agreeing with that. I don't think the defense, I'd still keep the same defense unless you have brought in someone like a Cancelo, then you can bring him into the team, and then Saliba, Gabriel, and White rotate. But the only time I looked at our defense is when now we had to bring players like Holding into the starting lineup. Shamak and Bentner, bad memories, man. Like, those were tough school days. How Wenger got Champions League football and beat Prime Barcelona with those two is beyond me. Yeah, I always think about that until today. On top of that, players like Gibbs, Amanda Traore, I think that was his name, Amanda Traore or something like that. Ospina after that, Chesney, Almunia. Almunia. The Lehman was good, but Lehman of 2007 and 8, he was terrible. He was making mistake after mistake. So we had some really bad problems. We can add a lot of players. Like, I can even tell you, remember Frimpong? Like, new Arsenal fans would not remember those days. Like, people like Frimpong, goodness me. It was tough days. Why Arsenal don't need a prolific striker as Arsenal are going to play Champions League football? Why does Arsenal lack ambition in this attitude? If we get midfielders fast, we can talk about strikers. But there's no point of getting a striker right now and then your midfield and midfield is open and you don't have backups for players like Saliba. You will score 3 goals, you'll concede 5. Sort out your midfield fast. For me, the most important position on the football pitch, midfield. That is the player who's going to collect the ball from your defenders and distribute it to the forward players. That is the player who's going to protect your defense as well in terms of attacking. That is the player who's going to make tackles for you, interceptions for you. That is the player who you might need to cover right back whenever the right back has gone forward. That is the player you might need to cover left back when the left back has gone forward. Midfield is very, very important. Very, very important. So if you get me a midfielder and a backup for Saka and we're okay, then we can start talking about a striker. I'd also love a striker at Arsenal, but I don't think we need a striker. We want a striker. Let Arteta get us Rice, Havertz, Diaby, Lavia, and Cancelo. We should have gone for Evan Dika for free from Frankfurt, and now is from a player. Ben White has done an unbelievable job this season. I love Ben White, man. He's in my top 5 Arsenal players from last season, but I still somehow see that people saying Ben White is not good enough, and I'm like, tough. Arsenal fans are tough to impress. Holding goals at Etihad Hall of Real Madrid 0, Holding 1. Yeah, hopefully we can use that to sell him. Hopefully you can tell them that Holding has scored goals against teams like Man City before. We want 30 million for Holding. Not just 30 million plus add-ons, as everyone puts it these days. I will appreciate it if you can call a beg Arteta to loan out Holding, Nketiah and Lokonga. If Nketiah and Holding leave us, I don't think it's going to be on loan. I think it's going to be sold. Or maybe even worse, someone like a Holding could get his contract cancelled. Where's Balogun? Well, I think he's in Mexico right now playing for USA. They played yesterday, but right now he's an Arsenal player. So why are we taking too long to make a signing? Hopefully we can get the Rice deal very, very soon, Dizzy, so that we can relax. I've been going for 1 hour, 12 minutes. If there's any more news, I will be uploading a video before too late, like before people go to bed and everything. So that is the latest on all the players. Let me recap it very, very quickly. And then tomorrow is weekend. Hopefully we get some more news on that. As I drink water, let's recap all the news that has come out for today, starting with Moussa Diaby. Arsenal have moved in recent weeks and are now in pole position to sign Bayer Leverkusen's Moussa Diaby. That is according to L'Equipe. Apparently, Arsenal are favorites to sign Moussa Diaby. We are ahead of Newcastle. For Balogun, Inter Milan are interested in following Balogun and are expected to formalize their approach. Apparently, they want to pay us like 40 million. We're not having that. You need to pay 50 million plus add-ons. That is how every team is asking. Declan Rice wants Arsenal. According to reports, he still wants Arsenal. That would be absolutely amazing. Let's wait to see whether the 100 million bid will be accepted. And also more on that, Arsenal are also seeking a move for Romeo Lavia, according to Miguel Delaney. We also want Lavia, and there was reports that Arteta wants up to two or three midfielders. So we could have Rice, Lavia, and Havertz. Maybe that is the midfield solution that he's looking at. And according to reports, confirmed reports, here we go from Fabrizio. Saliba has officially signed this contract. This one is done. He will be an Arsenal player. Kai Havertz is progressing well. He could be an Arsenal player very, very soon. And we might have to change our opinions on him. We might just have to support him if he's an Arsenal player, because if you're going to win the league title, he's going to be part of that team. Thank you for watching. And make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, like and share if you're watching on Facebook, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.